Hi everyone, Terry from Terry's Scrapbooks. This is my tutorial for making this album. I suggest you watch the whole thing through once. It's always a good idea, and then you know exactly what's coming up. Things that I might have forgotten to mention that you might need, you can have that information right up front before you start working. And then when you are working on the album, pause to read things that I've put up, or fast forward to see where things are going, rewind to review something that might have seemed confusing, and I will be happy to answer any questions that might come up for you. I have a walkthrough of this album, so you can watch that before you watch this tutorial so you can see what you're making. And that link will be in the description with lots of other information, where you can go to my blog to see still pictures of the materials lists and things like that. So, let's get started. The way I make my chipboard covers is I use heavy chipboard, 52 point natural. I get it from Paper Accents. I layer this up. This is still not thick enough for me, so I actually use 2 layers on my covers. So you would need to cut 4 pieces, 9 1/4 by 7 1/4, 2 pieces, 7 1/4 by 3 inches, and some Tyvek, the Tyvek envelopes that you buy in the office supply stores. That's what I use. I cut off pieces. This is 2 pieces that are 7 inches by 2 inches. Take 1 piece of your chipboard, and we're going to glue this like this over about 3/4 of an inch. If you want to mark it, you can do that. I put glue. I like glue because it gets into the fibers of the Tyvek and holds it really well. You want to go close to the edge of the spine because you don't want the Tyvek to pull away when you're opening and closing the book from the edge of the chipboard. So put your Tyvek on like that. I use a brayer to smooth it down and make sure that glue gets right in there. And then you could take your spine piece, put glue on that about 3/4 of an inch that way too. It might not be perfectly 3/4 of an inch, because we want this to be 3/8 of an inch away from the cover piece. Put it on like that, and then you want to measure 3/8 of an inch. I use 3/8 of an inch because I used to run into trouble when I used to try to do just 1/4 of an inch. So I just standardly use 3/8. I like that 1/8 of an inch extra space. Make sure it's 3/8 of an inch on the bottom. With the glue, you can move it around till you get it just the way you want it. And I like to clean up if the glue seeped out a little too much. I'll clean it up just like that. And we'll do the same thing for the next part of the cover. Okay, you have that the way you like it. And then I'll just put on the next pieces right on top of the other ones. This will also keep it from separating because you get two layers. But I still like to put the glue right up close. Second is fine. And the next cover part. So, there's the beginning of our cover. Okay, we're going to get ready to cover the cover. You want to have some black lace. I have 1 3/4 inch Viennese lace. I also have pink lace. This is 2-inch lace. I have 4 lengths of each lace at about 9.5 inches. So 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. This pink I got from Renee Bouquets, of course. And you need an 11 by 6.5 piece of black cardstock, the same cardstock you use inside the book. And you want to cut 2 of these sheets of the graphic 45 paper at, one is 11 inches by 9.5 inches for these. These will be, we're going to put these on first. So take one piece, make sure it's right side up. I'm going to put it on all the way, almost all the way over here. You can have it away a little because the black cardstock will be covering that up. But to help me with glue, where to put the glue, I'll find my pencil and mark down to here and here. That's just so I don't overuse my glue and get it everywhere. So I just put glue to adhere this on. Put it down and get it straight. It's about 1 3/4. 1 3/4. That's good. And then just to get it smoothed out and the glue flattened out, I'll run the brayer over it. Then I'm going to cut off the corners, leaving an 1/8 inch right at the corner, just about, not an 1/8, more like 3/8 of an inch away, like that. And like that. And then we're going to wrap the cover. I want my brayer handy and glue. And I run glue along this edge. And then up like this. The glue wets it just enough so it bends easily and doesn't crack. So I take my brayer and ease it up, pushing against the cover under the paper. You don't want to surprise it. Then you can curl it over like this. glue spread around, or use your bone folder, use your brayer now. This is your bone folder, you can use it the same way. And you want to punch down this corner, fold the paper so the paper goes at an angle from that. It's folded at an angle. And then you'll have this little lip thing sticking up. You want to push that down so it's tight against the edge. And just do this part the same way. Putting a little glue over into that area. Layer it down tight. Work the corner down like this, so it folds at an angle, and then you have this smaller angled fold there. You push that in, pull it down and in. Then we're going to do this part with the glue again. The same. There. Beautifully wrapped. Now this side, the same way. Only make sure this time you have your paper upside down if you're going to turn it like I did. Because you want the top and the top to match. And there we have it. Beautifully wrapped cover pieces. And now we're going to take our black cardstock. We're going to cover the spine with this. We want to get it even as we can so that it's even on the front and the back when it comes out this way. 1 3/8. Wow, that's pretty good. All right. Put glue on here, getting close to the edge of the spine. That way the paper will stay close to the edge. It's just prettier. It won't pull away in funny ways. So that's why I always try to make sure the glue goes right to the edge. Good. 1 3/8 on both sides. I want to double check one more time because when I flipped it over, it's moved a little. Okay. Alright, go back the other way. Put it upside down. Now we're going to feel for where the spine is separate from the cover. I'm going to push into it, make a dent into it. Take your bone folder, push it into the spine, into that dent, so that you're starting to make a dip in the dent. And then I have a pen that fits perfect, so I'll do that. And go like that. And when you have a nice dent in there, can you see it? You can push this up and put your glue in here. I'm going to go over that 1 3/8 inch. Keep close to the edge. Guesstimate about that far. And then pushing it so that the paper stays in that dent, and push it down here. I have to do the same with the other side. Okay, when you have 2 dents in there and it's all glued down, let's finish by pulling it over the top. Just put glue along the edge again like we did before. Skip this part. Skip where, right there. Don't put glue there. 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 Go up. Don't put glue there. Going to do the same thing. It's just going to be a little difficult in this part because of the dent. Makes it a little bit of a different issue. But work it up and you'll see where that's folding there. So pull this down. We're going to go gently. We're going to concentrate in the middle first. And we're going to pinch those 2 spots. Get it stuck down the middle. And now we're going to quickly do this again. Stick down this side. Here. There. We got our dents in there again. Do it this side again. Pinch those 2 points. Let's get this paper stretched for this dent. And then push this down here. This side too. There. That looks good. Squeeze it down like this. Push it so it looks like this here, and you can open it all the way up, and there's no fear of breaking, and it's not cracked. It looks great. Well, now we're going to put on our lace. So I want it to go something like this. Now I don't know if you've got the same lace or the same size lace. So that's how I want it to look when it's glued down. And that's going to give me an idea. I mean, I don't know if you have exactly the same lace or what, but lay yours out, see how you want it to look, where you want to place it. And then you can take off one and put glue, because this is thick lace, so we can use glue, it won't come through so much. Anyway, I'm doing it like that so it'll go in the right place. I want it to be straight. This is going to be covered, so I'm not going to worry too much about the glue showing. And I'm going to do this one. I know it covers this part. And this is a little bit airier, but I'm just going to put my glue on lightly. Light so it won't show, but heavy enough so it can catch the lace. I know you can see the glue now because it's wet, but it will dry clear, and because there's so much texture, it won't show. But it also won't come off. So now do your other side the same way. Okay, now after your lace is dry, then you can play with it, let it stick on there, but see, you can't see the glue anymore. Looks good. Now we're going to turn it over, and really you're just going to glue it down like this. Sometimes if it doesn't stick for me, I'll just find something and weight it down so that I can move on. There it is, all glued down and dry. Looks like that. Okay, we'll put that aside. We'll go on to hinges. I use the hidden hinge system. Take a piece of the black cardstock that you used for your pages and cut it 7 by 9 inches. And then take a piece of Tyvek. I use regular office supply store Tyvek envelopes and just open them all up and cut them to fit. I cut my piece of Tyvek for the hinges 1/4 inch smaller than the black cardstock that I'm going to use for the hinges. And then I spray the Tyvek one side with Aleene's Crystal Clear acid-free tacky spray glue and put it on the paper, And then we'll start scoring. Okay, I did this already and messed it up, so now I'm going to have to do it again. I want you to make your first score line. Doesn't matter which side you use. This is where I messed it up. So I don't want that to confuse me. Just listen to me. Make your first score line at 2 inches. Your second at 2.5 inches. Your third at 3 inches. That's your first hinge. Then you have a 1/2 inch gusset. So you want to make a score line at 3.5 inches. Then start your first hinge, your second hinge and make a line at 4 inches and 4.5 inches. Then you have a 1 inch gusset. So make your line at 5.5 inches, at 6 inches, at 6.5 inches. And that's it. So then you take your score tape and you run it along the first score line. You run it to the top of the score line, not the bottom. Then you fold it on the second score line, push it down, and the tape will catch right in the right place. So you'll have your first page hinge. Then you do the same thing again. Run it along you skip the gusset and then you run along the top of the next score line. And then fold on the score line above that, push it down, and there's your second hinge with the 1/2 inch gusset in between. Now the next one was the 1 inch gusset, so you're going to run your score line on top of that, your score tape on top of that score line. Fold that over to make your last hinge. So you have 3 hinges with a 1/2 inch gusset and a 1 inch gusset. This is the front of the album, and this is the back of the album, after the 1 inch gusset. Then we want our cover piece back. Make sure it's right side up. We're going to put it on like this. And we want between where the edge of the spine is and the first hinge, we want it to be a 1/2 inch. So if we measure and put the hinge up to that 1/2 inch mark, then you can draw a line right here, and that will tell you when you're putting down the glue, after you put the glue on, how far over to go. And I will put this over here just so I can see how high up to go with the glue. I want to go down about a 1/4 inch when I put the glue on. That will help keep it from seeping out when you start pushing it around. And the same down here. about a 1/4 inch up from the edge of the paper, and keep it close to the edge of the spine piece. So the glue's right close to that edge. And then you're going to put kind of a lot of glue, because we want all those hinges to be held down really tight. We want the glue to get into that Tyvek. We don't want it to move around after it's dry. And I'll take my old credit card, because it makes a great glue spreader. Pull it down, and up, so you have kind of a good coating of glue like that. And then I just do this because it doesn't hurt to have a little more glue right there. Make sure your 1-inch gusset is to the right. Find your line you drew. Make sure it's equal on the top and on the bottom. Double check to see if it's straight. You got your 1/2 inch there. Inch there. You can also check it this way. Goes all the way out this way to 10.5. Looks straight. And then you can start pushing it down, trying to, it slides a bit, so you're going to have to keep checking your dimensions to make sure you keep it straight. See, if you had too much glue too high up, where you'd go like this and the glue would seep out up here. You don't really want that. You can use your bone folder. And this is pretty wet. I usually don't have it quite so much glue but since I do, I'm going to walk away from this as long as I have it in the right position. Straight. I'm going to walk away for 30 minutes or so and let that glue set up, or things will be sliding around as you try to work on it some more. Okay, that's set up good. Not moving around anymore. It's nice and tight down there. Now we're going to make this dent. I keep calling it, like we did on the front cover. We'll do the same thing, it'll just feel stiffer because of the Tyvek. Push in harder. There. That looks really good. So then I'm going to lift this up and put glue right along the edge here. And these laces will make it pop up. It won't lie as flat. But it never really, it's not perfect, but it doesn't really inhibit anything. It just doesn't lie flat. Just bumps up right here and right here. So I'd rather have the laces tucked in under. That way they don't fray and they stay under there. That's the way I prefer to have them attach on. So I just deal with that bump. Makes things a little trickier. Gluing down too. My cat wants to go out. Okay. I'm going to do the other side exactly the same way. And we'll let that sit for a bit. So we'll pick it up. Looks good. And they're on the back real tight. That's really good. Okay, for the inside front cover, you'll need a piece of black cardstock cut at 7 by 5.5 inches, scored in the middle at 3.5 inches, 2 small 1 by 2 inch pieces scored in the middle, one 5 by 7 inch piece scored at 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch on the 7 inch side, one 8 by 7 inch piece scored at 1/2 inch and 5/8 on the 7 inch side, and your page background 9 by 7 inch piece. Okay, we're going to take the 8 by 7 inch piece, which has been scored at 1/2 inch and 5/8, and we're going to fold at the score lines. So that it looks like this, with that 1 inch on that side. Then we'll put glue right up to the first score line. And all the way over, we're going to put this up against that first score line. Like this, so that it will look like that. And with this one, the same thing, up against the first score line. So there's that 1/4 inch hinge part here. So that will stick out 1/4 inch like that. I do that so that after you've been layering up layers of paper, because you'll have patterned paper on the top of this. There's 2 small photo mats that go on top of that, and patterned paper that go onto those photo mats. And then you're going to put pictures on there. Then you're going to have layers on this piece too, which will fold over like this. And then layers on here. It will lay flat. You won't get any of that bumping up, we hope, by adding in these, I don't know what to call them, gussets. Okay, now we're going to move on to this piece, which is the booklet, which will go on top of here, like this. We're going to put magnets on here. But first we're going to take one of these 1 inch by 2 inch that's been scored down the middle, put a little glue, and put it on the back. See, this is folding like this. We'll put it on the back side like this. We want it in the center. So we'll eyeball it, and we'll leave about 1/8 of an inch up, sticking off the side, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with this on the front, the same spot. You can even line them up this way, because you want them to match. Okay, this is where I'm going to put the magnets. I'm going to put them right up to the fold line on this little tab. So you need 2 of the smaller size magnets, and I use glossy accents to put my magnets on. So I'm going to put it right in the center of the tab, all the way up to the fold of that tab. Then we'll put some glue on this side and fold the tab over the top of the magnet. On the other side, we're going to have this magnet find the first magnet that's in there. Put a little glue on the magnet, keeping their tab open. Have that magnet glued to your paper, already lined up. You want to take it off so that the magnet's stuck there. Then just like you did with this side, do with this side. So there, that will hold that together. And this tab serves 2 purposes. One, it's thicker so that when you're opening and closing this little booklet, it's less wear and tear on the edge. It's a stronger edge. It also pushes the magnet out a little bit, because when you get too many layers between the magnets don't hold. So this keeps them away from the layers of paper. And we'll go back to this piece now that should be dry. And we're going to find the center of the small fold. Half of 7 is 3.5. Make a mark. And then we have a length of ribbon, which is about 15 inches, 30 inches. And we're going to put that on that mark that we just made. Going out like this, you want it centered. Like this. And then on the other side, on the back of the whole thing, we're going to put glue and put the other ribbon there. So they will match up and you'll be able to tie them when they're dry. Okay, so you could take this now and put it aside until you're ready for the patterned papers. Okay, here's page 1. You need your 9.5 or 9 by 7 inch back piece, 4 4.5 by 7 inch pieces that are all scored a 1/2 inch on the one 4.5 inch side. You'll also need a 3.5 by 1 3/4 piece. And we'll take care of that one first. We're going to die cut this one with this Spellbinders Labels 4 small. We're using the second one in, second largest one. The die cutting side down, slide your piece of paper in and up to the point and center it so that on each side you have an equal space. Make it straight. Use your Post-it note. And cut it. Run it through the machine just to you feel it hit where the die is, because you only want to cut off the end of the paper. There is your fancy cut edge. Sometimes it won't come out quite in the middle, so what I do is just go back to the paper cutter and cut this off even. You just have to adjust your pattern paper to fit it. I've cut off that end, and we want to score this on this side a 1/2 inch. Fold it under like that. We're going to go back and take 2 of these 4.5 by 7 inch pieces that we have scored on one end, and we're going to put this together so this one folds over the top of the other one. Make sure it lines up. Take your glue, there, first 2 pages of the waterfall. And we'll leave these undone till after we get the pattern paper on. But we'll take this one and put it in the center. on the back. Okay, these are done until after you get your patterned paper on. For page 2, you need a 9 by 7 inch piece, a 10 by 3.5 inch piece, which has been scored on each 3.5 inch side, a 1/2 inch in, one 9 by 6.5 inch, scored down the middle at 4.5 inches, 2 photo mats, which are 5.5 by 7.5 and 6.5 by 4.5. So we'll take the 9 by 7 inch piece and the 10 by 3.5 inch piece, fold in the score lines. We're going to make a pocket at the bottom like this. So we're going to put glue here, here, and here. Line it up with the edges. So it fits nice and close. And that's good. Now, that's all you have to do until you put the pattern papers on. For page 3, you need a 9 by 7 inch piece, your page, and a 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece. And that's it. For page 4, you need a 7 by 6.25, scored at a 1/2 inch and 3/4 inches. So when you get it scored, it looks like this. A 4.5 by 6.5. 6.5 by 3, score a 1/2 inch on both sides. 2 4.5 by 4.5, and your 9 by 7 inch page. Take your 7 by 6.25 that has been scored a 1/2 inch and 3/4 inches, fold on the score lines. This will be going on your page like this. So put glue and put your page up to the first score line. Like that. So it will fold like this, and that 1/4 inch will be up like that. On the inside, when you open it up, on the inside, I'm going to put a pocket like this. So you want to glue here, here, and here. So there, that will look like that. And you can put all these aside until you're ready to use your pattern papers. For page 5, you need your 9 by 7 inch page. You need a 5.5 by 5 inch piece. 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece, 2 4.5 by 4.5 inch pieces, 1 1 inch by 2 inch scored down the middle, one 8.5 by 1/8 by 5-inch piece scored at the 5-inch sides, a 1/2 inch in, 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here on the 5-inch sides. One 12-inch piece scored at 4 inches, then at 11.5 inches, then at 11 5/8 inches, so that there's an 1/8 inch gusset, like that, there. So this will go onto the page like this, open like this, and then open like this. And it will have a pocket in here like this. So we're going to put at that 3-inch, 1/8 inch gusset or wing we have off here, leaving the 1/8 inch gusset uncovered. We're going to, so this page will close like this. We'll have this one will close like this and like this, and there'll be an 1/8 inch gusset sticking up on this side. Now we'll put on the pocket. Put glue here, here, here. Make sure you don't cover that 1/8 inch gusset. Make sure that's still clear. But put your pocket right up to that fold line there. And now we're going to use the tab again. We're going to put that right in the middle again. So 1/2 of 7 is 3.5. Just so we know what we're doing. Put glue on one side of our 1 by 2 inch that has been scored and folded down the middle. Put it so there's an 1/8 inch sticking up. 1/8 inch to the fold. So it looks like that. We're going to need 2 magnets for this. And on our line we mark, we can just put some glossy accents. And put 1 magnet up to the fold line there. Put glue. Put the magnet up to the fold line with glossy accents. Put glue on this because we're going to fold it over the top. And I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and I'm going to put it over where I want the magnet to go. This is so that I can separate. You'll see in a minute. Put it over that and let the magnet find the other magnet. Still put your glue on the back side of this magnet. And then we can just fold this right over so it glues onto the top part of the pocket. And the reason we wanted the paper is because we'll hold the paper down and we'll lift this up and the other magnet will stay right there. It's easy. Makes it easy. We'll let that dry because we could pull it off. If we start putting this together and pulling it, the magnet will be over here instead of there. Now this is done. Put your other pieces with it. This is done until you're ready for the pattern paper. We're going to do page 6 in 2 parts because there's a booklet that will go inside of a pocket we're going to make. First we're going to make the pocket on the base page. So you have the 9 by 7 inch piece, that's your base page. Then you need to cut your 5.5 by 5 inch piece, that will be the oval cutout on here. Then this is the pocket. This is an 8 by 9 inch piece, and you have to score both sides of the 8 inch sides. You score in a 1/2 inch, then 3/4 inch, and then 1 inch. And you do it this way: 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch. So there's a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. We're going to make an accordion pocket. Then you score the bottom, the 9 inch side, at a 1/2 inch. And after you've done that, take your scissors. So I want you to cut along the 1/2 inch score line that's on the bottom, all the way in to where the 1 inch score line is. Like that. And do both sides. So this is the 1 inch score line, and this is the 1/2 inch score line. Like that. Now fold these up. Fold this one, the 1/2 inch on the bottom. And you're going to make an accordion fold here. So fold on the 1 inch, fold all the way in. Then on the first 1/4 inch fold, which is the 3/4 inch, fold out. And then on the 1/2 inch fold, which is another 1/4 inch gusset here, you fold in. So that you have an accordion that can expand right there. It will be tight at the bottom, but it will expand at the top. Do the same on this side. Hold the 1 inch fold, fold all the way in. At the 1/4 inch, fold out. Next 1/4 inch, fold in. So your 1/2 inch part that you're going to glue down is at the top. Now you have your accordion pocket. We are going to glue this corner and this corner for right now. Just a little glue on top of that 1/2 inch fold. And a little glue here. Again. Squish down your accordion and fold up your bottom flap here. And hold it till it's glued. There. Now we're going to glue this on to our 9 by 7 inch page, like this. So it pops up over here. So you want to put glue here, here, and here. Keeping it, the edges of the pocket in, make sure your accordion fold is tucked in. Make sure it lines up with the edges of the paper. Good. And the pocket. So this part is done for now. You can go ahead and put that aside. For the folder, for page 6, you need a piece that's 8 by 6 inches, a piece that's 4 by 6 inches, scored at a 1/2 inch and 3/4, scored at a 1/2 inch and 3/4 on the 6-inch side. You need 3 that are cut at 7 inches by 3 inches, scored a 1/2 inch on both 3-inch sides. You need a piece that's 8 inches by 6 inches, scored on 6-inch side, scored a 1/2 inch on the 6-inch side. And you need 3 that are cut 5 1/2 inches by 4 inches. You can put those aside. You need to take your 8 by 6 inch piece and make a mark in 1 1/2 inches from the left hand side. Just run it on the edge of your ruler is fine, just so you have that as a reference. Then you want to make a 1 5/8 inch line. One and 5/8. Make your reference line. 1 5/8. Reference line. This one you don't really need it, because we're going to make the pockets like this. It's going to be pocket butt up to that line. The next pocket will butt up to that line, and this one will butt up to this line, and they should rest at the bottom there, like that. So you have a pocket, and a pocket. We're going to start with this one first. Glue here, here, and here, with your 5/8 inch line to the left. So that the edge, this edge, is up against that line. Make the edges straight. Glue it down. And we'll do the same with the next pocket that you've marked a line on. The 5/8 inch part is to the left, and you're going to push this line right up to that. Put the glue on the same way. See, can't touch it without getting glue on me. There's the line, and I'm putting the paper right up to it. Getting it straight. Pushing it down. Okay. And the last one, you want it to go all the way to the bottom. And if we measured right, well, it's a little bit away from the line. But I'm going for it anyway. Okay, let's see if this fits. One photo mat, 2 photo mats, 3 photo mats. Perfect. So that fits, we can leave those on. We want to put this on the top. This is the top. It's got a 1/2 inch score and a 3/4 inch score. We want to put blue on the 1/2 inch score. And we want to put the edge of this all the way up to the first fold line. And this will go over like this. Just like this. So we want to put blue up to the fold line here. So there'll be that 1/4 inch up there. That'll help this lay flat, and it's full of layers of paper. And this is all done till you get your pattern papers going. The inside back cover is a repeat of page 1. So you'll need your tab piece die cut on the end and folded a 1/2 inch in at the bottom. You need 4 7 by 4.5 inch pieces that have all been scored on the 4.5 inch side, a 1/2 inch in, and your 9 by 7 inch page, one of those. And we'll do the same thing again. We'll fold all these. And we'll take the first 2 pieces, fold the top one over the top of the second piece so that it leaves a 1/2 inch sticking out at the bottom, and glue that. That'll open like this. And we'll have that, and we'll wait for our pattern papers. Okay, I'm going to talk about how I made the flowers. I used Brazil vanilla cardstock, not French vanilla. This is French vanilla. See the difference in the color? This has a pinky color to it. And this is also the red, the Recollections red that I used in the rest of the album for this color. It's a Ariana Blooms. I stamped the Ariana Bloom stamp onto the Brazil vanilla with this Versa color cinnamon color. Then cut it out with the die, Ariana Bloom's die. So here's what it looks like after you do that. And I left this one, these I finished already. Then I take more of this ink, and I just use a piece of sponge and crinkle it up. Dab a little on. And go around the edges like this. And then the center, just go around and around like this to darken up that center. And that's all. For the red, I don't do that. All I did with the red was I stamped with the same cinnamon color. You can see the lines, but that's all for that. Then you take one of these mats and these tools, flower shaping tools. And you turn it over and you go around and around. You're bending the paper so it bends up. And you do each petal. So it bends up like this, see? Turn it over to the front, do the center. And it will cup up like this. And you do all of the flowers the same and you stack them up, and that's when you get this look, except for the center. So you take the smallest one and you actually ink it on the back. And I do the front too. Then I'm going to curl it on the back, the whole thing around so it makes a cup. Go down each petal. So it cups up like this. And then the front part with the stamping is on the outside. And you do two of those to make your center, to make it look like this one. Okay? The red ones don't have, I don't have a red one with a center like that. You just leave the centers open. For the leaves, I used Heartfelt Creations Open Leaf Pre-Cut Set. And I stamped this leaf for this one, and I used this smaller one for the smaller ones. I used Stampin' Up's Certainly Celery color to stamp it. And then the same as I did with the flowers, I used old paper, Ranger ink old paper, and I did the edges and the center. And that's how I got the look with the leaves. The small one's the same. Okay, here's what I've done for inside flowers. I've got 5 of the small red and 1 of this, I'm calling it medium. The small reds are 1 inch across. This is a medium small red. It's 1.5 inches across. This one's doubled up. The 1 inch flowers aren't. I mean, you can double them. I've got 3 of these 2 inch red flowers. Now there's 2 that are double, there's 1 that isn't. This is just what I did. 6 1 inch pink done up. I've got only 1 that's layered. I've got 2 of the light pink, 1's layered, 1 isn't. And 2 of the 2 inch pink. And then I have 2 large flowers and 7 small leaves. We may not use all of the leaves, we'll maybe rip some off, but that's what I have ready to go. And then for the cover, I have this one big flower, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. One big pink flower. There's 2 of the large layers, and then they progressively go down, and I showed you how to do the center. Two this size, 2-inch bottom layer, and 1 smaller layer, and then the center and up. I forgot to glue in the center. This one's 1.5 inch. With 2 layers. Here's 2 small. 1 small red, 1 red that's got 1, 2, 3 layers, and it's a 2-inch across, 3 layers plus the center, and 1 small red that's 2 layers plus the center, that's 1.5 inches. That's all for the cover. I did do 1 large and 2 small leaves for the cover. Here's what I'm going to do for the front cover. So you'll need to cut, I'm thinking of layering it up, that's what the chipboard's there for. You'll need to cut out this lady, and you'll need to cut out this lady and man. Now I did all the way, I just cut from his hat over. I'll show you, we can cut this all out, fussy cut. You just cut around the edges. So here's what I cut out, how I cut them out. I cut all the way up. I left this flower, cut over his shoulder and his hat, didn't worry about that corner. And then I cut her. I didn't cut the flower that time. You can cut these leaves too. And then these flowers came off the side of the same paper, and I cut them. And then these, I included both rosebuds, but they're in that same spot on a different piece of paper, of course. And this flower comes from here, left some of the leaves off. I'm going to use all of these on the cover. I can put the flowers aside for now. And this also, this is an ephemera piece. I want to have it, this be a pocket, and this slide down the back, but be also part of the design. We'll have a flower on the top, and that way you can title the album, write something about it right there, right on the cover. Alright, this will be glued directly onto the album, but this one I want to pop up. I know you can use foam, sticky foam stuff, double-sided sticky foam, but I don't want it to move. I don't want it to be spongy. I want it to stay on there forever. So I'll take some chipboard, and I mostly want just her top part up. I'll glue this part down so that, because it's at the bottom of the album cover, and if you're pushing like this it might be peeling up, so I'm just going to put chipboard under this part and have it angled down. It won't hardly be noticeable, but I'll carefully trace around her. Use a pencil because you can erase it off if you overshoot the edge. That's as far as I'm going to go. Then you fussy cut this out and go in a little bit. You don't want any of this showing, obviously. So I'll try it out. I think I need to cut in some more there and around the flower a bit. There, that's good. So when we put them together, she'll be popped up a little. And just kind of nice little dimension. And then we'll glue it down. See, it'll just slide right down like that. So go ahead and glue the chipboard on the back of her. That's all for now. Okay, for the dress form in the album, I just have a chipboard dress form, painted black, cut from this die, Sewing Room, Tim Holtz, Sizzix die, and I painted it black with acrylic gloss enamel, and then I cut out this piece to fit. You just take a piece like this and trace around it. Cut it out. Following your pencil line, you have something that looks like this. See, it does fit. And then you might want to clean it up. Make this a little rounder. And then I just make a heart shape up here. That's all I do. Fuss with it and make it fit better the way you like. Then I went into my bits and pieces of lace and I found some peach because I thought it really went really well with that paper. So I think I'll use this and this. Put this over the top. And then I found this with the red going through it. So that's how I'll dress my dress form. Just glue it on. And I think I want this to go up here. So before the glue is dry, I'm going to put a little extra glue. Like that. And I think I'll cut this off. Then I ran some thread through a length of the lace. so I could gather a little. I think I want this to gather a little too, so I'll bunch it up like that when I glue it on. Then for this one, right at the knot, I'll leave that open a little, and I'll put this so that I can run the needle through the thread. To hold it there. Then sew it and tie it off. Mostly you just don't want it to get too bulky, if you can help it. Then I'm going to take some glue. Well, I got a couple little bow and a little rosette. Put those on. And there, a dress form. Not too fat. Just make sure it's all glued down in the back, because you don't want it to fall apart. Before you put the pattern papers on, before you glue them on permanently, it's a good idea to watch the next segments to see exactly what's going to be happening. In some cases there's things you need to do before you can glue them down, and it would be good for you to see that ahead of time. Okay, we'll go on to the next segment. Okay, here we are on the inside back cover. Here's where I've gotten so far. Covered with this paper here, this paper here, here, and here on the back. I put a doily, paper doily, 6-inch paper doily up towards the left-hand corner, upper corner, and one 4.5 by 4.5 inch photo mat, covered it with this paper and glued it up into the left-hand upper corner with a 1/4 inch border around it. Now you're going to want to put this one here. And we're going to want to have this slide down the back, and we're also going to want to be able to put a picture over in this side. So we don't want to put glue here or here. We want to go like this, and like this. Don't do what I do and put the glue all the way up here, which is why you saw glue on there before. I had to quickly take it off and remove the extra glue. And you should be able to slide this down in here. and get your picture in over here. Like that. But I wait for it to dry. Okay, moving on to this side. Now, I wanted this, I covered this 4.5 by 6.5 inch photo mat with the white paper you get with your paper pack. At the very last page is a white paper Graphic 45 provides. And I wanted it to be solid like this because I wanted to leave a lot of journaling option. You can put a photograph on it or a journal. So I want this to come out, but I want this to hold it in. So I want to put glue down at this corner and up at this corner. So to make sure I don't get on that paper, I'll actually lift it up like this. Put a little glue here and here. This is one of the journaling cards, by the way. Not cut from the papers, the journaling cards. And then I'll take this out just to make sure it doesn't get glued in there. And we'll let that dry. Then this cut from the collection, this little flower. Put it on here. Don't put glue here. Like that. And then we want to put this up here. So just put a little glue on this edge. Just a little. And put it onto the black. That way it doesn't seep over too far when you press down on it. You can still get a picture under there. Here we'll just glue this booklet that we covered. Well, first we can put this part on. We'll put this little picture the same way we put this on and this on, right down at the bottom. A little bit of glue in the center. And that will hold in this down like that. We'll glue the back here in the center. I can push down on it flatter there by opening it up like that. So we have our ephemera card here, journaling spot here, decorative piece here, and we'll try this out now. That looks good. Go like this. And we're going to put this on here, but we want to cut this out with the Spellbinders oval die. We want to put it in the middle. And use Post-it note to hold it in place. Get the die cutting machine. nicely cut oval center. And if you did not write on the center, then you don't have to erase this off. Then we'll place this over the top, but of course we want to leave the top open so we can slide a picture down inside. And we just want to put glue here, here, and here. Center it. So we can put a picture in there with a nice oval frame. And we'll just glue that in the center there. And that page is finished. Here's how I've done the pattern paper. This big one on the 9x7. On the one page, I've got this again, this pattern paper again. That will be closing like that. And I copied that. Like that. This is the double folder that we've already put together. That's how they'll look when we finally get them in there. Now this red paper, I got this at Recollections. I had it in my stash, so it wasn't a recent purchase. This is, I don't know if that'll help you at all if you want to find the same color. It's kind of a rose red color. But I think Basil has a color called Maraschino that I think will be a good match if you want to use that. Now, I've used this red because the ephemera cards don't fill up my 4.5 by 6.5 inch photo mats. So I use this to layer it and make a border. And I think that color accents everything beautifully. So I want you to cut one of these. This will be 4.25 by 6.25, and go ahead and put that on. And we'll wait before we put this on. So this part that we've already done, I want you to put glue here. And we're going to put it in the center, about 1/2 inch away from this edge. Then you can open it up, find this piece, and we're going to put it on like that. I'm going to put the glue on this side. And slide this butt it right up to the previous one. And we'll do that again. So here we have the waterfall. And we want to put magnets on. So we're going to put another piece of paper here, so we want to make sure the magnets are below the end. We'll need 4 of the smaller size magnets because waterfalls can be heavy and this will hold it better, the 4 magnets. And so we use the glossy accents to make 2 dots right about there. But they like each other, so magnets attract. So that's fine. Let's make sure they get covered up. Yeah, that looks good. So we'll glue this on. And we'll let these 2 find the first magnets. Put glue there and there. And I'm going to let this fall over and glue onto there. And try not to let it curl up because since this isn't down, it might try to do that. So I'll hold down here and keep it from pulling up the base layer. And I wanted it on top of the red to keep from having too many layers of paper between the magnets. And now we can put this over the top. Good. We can use this to decorate, like this, what it will look like closed, and then we'll finally get it open like this. So we can just put some glue down at the bottom. And you can still get a picture behind it. And put this up here. And this page is done. And I've covered page 2 with pattern papers. This is the back and then the pocket. Slid this paper down inside, then covered the pocket. Here's the 2 photo mats, 5x7, 4x6. Here's the booklet. This is an ephemera journaling pack piece with the red cardstock behind. Opens like this, blank on the back, because we're going to be putting it like this. First we'll take this and make something pretty like that. glue it on. For this one, you need a 30-inch piece of ribbon. We're going to put it on the back and tie a bow, and I want it to be below their faces. I want the bow to be below their faces, so I'm going to tie it right on. And I'm going to glue it on just like that. So I want the glue to be all below here, below their faces too, so we'll just do it like that. So, this is done for now. You can put it aside until later. Here's how I put the pattern paper on for page 3. Here's the background. Put a paper doily onto the right-hand side, and I stuck this lady off in the corner, peeking out over the doily. I covered the 4.5 by 6.5 inch photo mat like this. It's the red paper behind. This is an ephemera card over the top. And you'll also need to cut a piece of patterned paper, 11.25 by 7.75, 11.25, 7.75. You want to score it at 2.5 and at 7.25. So it will fold like this. And you also want to score it a 1/2 inch down both of these sides. So we'll be doing this. All right. Now, along the score line, it's easier to do it on this side because the pattern is so busy you can't hardly see the score line. But you want to cut the first score line on this, okay, from the top. I'll start there. The top is the 2 1/2 inch length. I want you to cut off right to that score line, along the 1/2 inch score line, right to the first score line at 2.5 inches. Like that. Do the other side the same. Now it looks like this. Do that at the bottom half too. This part, do the same thing. So that will look like that. This is an envelope. You're going to fold this in like this up like this, and this will come down like this. So now that you have these cut and you know what you're going to do, I want you to go back and cut these at a slight angle. Just a little bit. Take off, go in about 1/8 of an inch at this end to the corner here. So, right to the corner that you already have. So see, a sliver like that. And same here. Just an angle. Like that. Do all of them again like that. Okay, now that you have that all cut, it looks much more elegant with the angles on there. I want you to put glue here and here. And let's make it even more elegant by trimming off these corners. So there's our envelope. And we'll need a 30-inch length of ribbon again. We're going to tie it right on in the middle. Our secret love letters, tied up with a bow. Put it in the middle. Now you can shorten these up if you like. It's a big bow, so it should be easy to tie. So I'm going to glue it on like this, with the bow right on there. And we can slide our photo mat inside, and there can be other secret love messages left in there, whatever you want. Make more photo mats. I thought we'd put something like this on for decorations. And that looks cute. Another ephemera card. I didn't mention that. Okay, so this is done for now. Here's page 4. I've put the pattern papers on. This is how I did it. This is the ephemera piece and the red cardstock on the back of that. And this blank here, because we're going to do again these. Go ahead and glue this one down flat. And this one, you have to remember to leave the top part open, because we're going to stick this ephemera card in here. And don't glue here. So glue here, here, and here. Like that. Now, I'm going to tip this over because this is where we're going to put on our dress form. And I was playing around to see how it would look, and I think this is a good way to go. This was cut from the papers. Usually after I cut out all my pattern papers, I go back through my scraps and see what I have, or as I'm cutting my pattern papers, I say I want to try to save this image. And I'll try to cut out the pattern paper so that I have this image. And this is from the ephemera. Did I say that already? Okay, so I want to put this on like this. I opened it up because of that 1/4 inch sticking up. This will lay it flatter. I think I want to take out this as well. Okay, you're probably going to want your hot glue gun for this to, when we finally get it glued on, because this sticks up, so you want something that's going to grab quickly. So get that warmed up and going, and then we'll put these on like this. So we want this one right about there. I want to make sure she's peeking out. So that looks good. Now I'm going to put hot glue. My ancient hot glue gun. I don't know how old this is. It must be 20 plus years old. Try to get it down there flat and straight in the short period of time you have. Glue seeped out. That looks good. Put our love notes up in there. And I took these out. This was cut from a scrap. I didn't get the whole thing because I cut that off earlier, so I was going to put it like this because I thought that looked cute. Oh, and how about putting her right here? Okay, and that page is done. Okay, now here's the reason why you want to watch the segments on how to put the paper on before you actually put the paper on, because I totally forgot to add the ribbon to this page, and I had to slide this very thin tool up in under this paper to loosen up the glue so that I can now, in the most difficult manner, glue this down in there. So if you happen to do it in the future, you can do the same thing. You just got to make it so you can get your ribbon in, and I usually put the ribbon in first because it's a lot less messy. Then I'll take glue with a very pointy tip and go in behind the ribbon, get my glue in there, and thank goodness we don't have to do it to the other side too, because it comes off the back. All we have to do is match up this ribbon with the other. Like that. So I hope you didn't put your pattern paper on, and you can do it the easy way. And these will tie. And here's how I've covered page 5. I cut out the oval center again, just like we did on the inside front cover page with the die cutter. Left it so you can slide your picture down inside. Use this paper here. This just glued on top of this. Covered with this, like this. Photo mat. And this page like this. I'm going to put these on here like this time. So we want to put glue here, here, and here. Leave this top open so that we can put this ephemera piece in here. And then you want to leave space for the other picture to get onto here, so you just want to put glue here, 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 and here, leaving this space open. I'll use my fingers as a guide. So that can go like this. And how about her here like this? And do we want to do that? This piece was cut from the collection. Looks like I didn't cut the line straight. I'm going to go do that. I remember right, I had cut this by hand because I could get in there with the scissors better. So now I've straightened up the edges. I'm just going to glue it on. And just lay the ladies here like this. Perhaps over the top of these. Yep. So that looks nice. And this is done for now. Okay, this is how I covered the inside back cover page with that paper, and I covered this connected part of the waterfall with the red cardstock because we're going to put a magnet up here. And these papers inside and that paper there. This one will come next. This one will come next. But we're going to put this on now. We put glue right here. And we're going to put it in the center, about a ½ inch away from this edge. And then we're going to put this next one, same way we did before, butt it up. And the next one again. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to put this ephemera piece on top of here. First we need to put the tab on this end. I'm going to put it in the center like that. So we're going to put glue. And we'll need 4 magnets. Put it 2 right here in the center. We'll put one here. Kind of underneath where the paper is going to go, in that area. We know that these like each other, so. Okay, with those dry, I'm going to do it backwards, since before I put them on this part first, I'm going to do it backwards. I'm going to put a piece of paper over these magnets. Let these magnets find those magnets. Put the glue on them. Tip the whole thing over so it attaches onto here, keeping the back paper flat. Pull up on the paper, and we can get the magnets in their right places. That means we can go ahead and cover this with our paper that's all ready to go. And this. And they match up perfectly. Okay, we want to add in something pretty. One of the ephemera pieces. Like that. And that page is finished for now. Actually, we have the front. And we'll put on the first page. So we'll push all the hinges over like this. Put some glue on the hinge, about 1/8 inch below the top of the hinge. And we're just going to lay this page about 1/8 inch below, above the bottom of the hinge. And we'll have to hold it there till the glue catches. To push it together like this. If you want to walk away from it for a bit, you can clamp it with the handy clamps. I push them down and it will even hold things up. Brace it like this. Just keep it up straight and keep it in the right place and let it dry for just a few minutes if you want. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll just go on to the next page. And you just do the same thing in reverse, only this time you'll have to cover all this with glue. Clamp it on. Clamp it on. My page 1 is kind of warped. And bent forward, so I'm going to have to hold it on with my handy helpers. There. And page 2 is bending page 1 back, and it's not warped anymore. Okay, I let this sit for a little bit because it was moving around too much, and it made me feel better to do that. So I'm going to take off these now. That worked out really well. Looks good. So you put on the rest of the pages the same way. Glue, and then glue. You can use your clamps. Okay, I got all the pages in. And we're going to put on the front and inside, front and back covers. And it's the same. You're just going to glue them on. It's more important to have this glued on straight than trying to worry about it being flat. It will grab onto the corners that are up over the top of the laces. The cardstock. It will be fine. Don't worry about this part maybe not completely touching, because this part will, and this part will, and this part will. And if it's easier to push down, go ahead and untie your ribbons, open it up. Go into the inside back cover. think I need my clamps again. Right here. And here. And here. Those waterfalls tend to make this curl up. But the chipboard will straighten it out. Just for a few minutes for that. And while we're waiting for that to dry, don't forget to seal the edges of your ribbon. I already did this one, I think. After you've cut it to the size you like, I like the way that bow looks, you can keep your ribbons from fraying just by running a flame right along the cut edge. It melts the fibers together. So do that with all your ribbons. Look at that. Very nice. As you all already know, because you've seen the finished album and I haven't, this is how I decided to go with the cover. I didn't use this, and I didn't use this. And I did not use one of these for the cover. I used one large flower, all the rest of the flowers, and I didn't use white glitter dots inside. I chose crystals. They just blend in a little better, and they add a little sparkle right in those corners. Now this is not glued down, but this is what we want. Actually, why don't we glue this one right on? So you want your leaf to go on in such a way as you can still read the title. I am very sorry that I messed up so much in the last few segments. I'll try to talk you through what I did. Basically, you just leave a space when you're gluing on the couple so that you can slide your tag in behind them and not have it stick up too high, and you can still see the title. And I used the two pink roses that I cut out, and I just put them over her shoulder. And after that, it's just gluing them on. I folded these two leaves sort of together so they were closer together like that. That's pretty much it. And I also messed up on showing the flower placements inside, so I'll just go through the album and show you. You know, just glued them in this corner with the two big leaves. There's one here and one here. Two there with a set of small leaves. These right here on the cover, make sure you keep them low enough so that when you open the flap of the envelope, they don't get in the way. big set of leaves. Two here with a small set of leaves. I just ripped off one of the leaves off one of the small sets of leaves for right there. Two small ones here. And here's where these are. And one more right here. Just glued on, nothing special. And the other thing I did when the camera wasn't working or filming was I put an embossed piece on the spine. I just cut a piece of the same black cardstock, 6.5 by 2.5, and then I ran it through a cuttlebug and a griffin, a canthus 5 by 7 inch embossing folder, and then I just glued it on in the center. It looks really kind of nice. Well, here's our album finished, and that means the tutorial's finished. I hope it was a pleasant experience. I hope you had a good time. It was a pleasure doing it for you. I really appreciate everyone's comments on all my videos and all my albums. That's why we all do this on YouTube, because you guys all make it worthwhile. I hope you enjoy your album and make many, many more. And I thank you so very much for watching.